There's a war going on, and the scariest thing about this war is that these tactics that are being waged against society, most people are just unaware it's even happening.
That is Representative Heather Scott from Blanchard up in Bonner County, up in Idaho's Panhandle. And she was part of a presentation at Regeneration Calvary Chapel in Kootenai about how to remove inappropriate materials from Idaho schools and libraries. She referred to it as a war of perversion against our children, an orchestrated attack on their minds and their souls, and one that hasn't happened overnight. Well, during the hour-long talk last month, she made a lot of comments like this.
Does anyone here even remember when local school boards across the country began writing policies to promote the girls using the boys' bathrooms and the boys using the girls' bathrooms and showers? How long ago was that? Do we know when, do you remember when Drag Queen Hour even started, or the drag queens were reading to the little children? When did that start? When did school counselors start doing counseling to counsel children to change their sex and then hide it from the parents? And when did the high school boys, I went to Taco Bell the other day, and the boy had the longest fingernails I'd ever seen, painted, lipstick. When did this happen?
When did this happen? The fingernail and lipstick thing? Oh, I don't know. At least 40 years ago. Well, for the sake of time, we're just going to walk past the part where she said, "I went to Taco Bell the other day," which is probably a sentence that shouldn't be uttered by any person of a certain age. But anyway, this presentation Representative Scott was involved with last month came on the heels of the defeat of House Bill 666, the one that would have removed the disseminating harmful materials to minors exemption from libraries and schools. But just because the Senate considered it mischief and killed it doesn't mean it would just die.
And when did we allow a law in this state to say that it was okay for libraries across Idaho to promote pornography? Give them an exemption.
1972, actually, but it didn't say it was okay for libraries to promote pornography, and we've spoken to several of them around the state, and that's not what they do. But a lot of Idahoans believe they do, and starting questioning what books they were seeing in their school libraries. For example, just about 10 days ago, Nampa School District permanently removed 22 books from their library shelves. The reasons why were plenty. In fact, we're still waiting for a response from the Nampa School District on whether any of those books had actually been challenged by parents. Well, after seeing that story, a school librarian in Riggins reached out to us. Ashley Mays teaches and has been an English teacher, I should say, at Salmon River High School, the junior and senior high schools there, since 2005. She's also been the district librarian since 2013, meaning she helps choose the books that are on the shelves based on selection criteria, which is clearly explained in policy, she says. They also choose books based on student interest, and they also get some through donations. All told, she manages about 10,000 books between the elementary school and the high school. Ashley says interest in library books picked up about a year ago when they had 2 books challenged. She said she didn't have that many challenges in all of the previous 10 years combined, all of which were resolved with just a conversation. Well, that was also about the same time, last spring, when school board meetings went from about 10 people at the Salmon School District, 10 people in attendance back last spring, to about 70 by October, Ashley said, all to rework a reconsideration policy when it comes to books in the library. So they made one. But it took about a year to do so because of that sudden increase in community involvement, in which Ashley says she had to endure public defamation, and she also had to witness book burning. And there seemed to be a theme with the books being questioned in Riggins. The first one, Drama, by Raina Telgmeyer, and the second, Good Night Stories for Rebel Girls, 100 Tales of Extraordinary Women.
The one page that was problematic was about Coy Mathis, who it was a transgender student whose family was largely responsible for the transgender bathroom bill. But the challenge was specifically related to that particular page. The other book was about a relationship, a young relationship in which a young female character finds out that someone that she had a crush on happened to be gay. And the ending is a story of tolerance and acceptance, but the people who had a problem with the book didn't think that it fit in our elementary library.
Had any of these books been checked out, like on a regular basis?
I did a report in the last 2 years, a circulation report, and had 6,000 books go through our scanner. And less than 40 of those were for those 2 books in 2 years.
Any of those books contain anything that would be considered graphic depictions or descriptions or obscenity?
No.
But yet somebody had a problem with them?
With a page or 2 in the book, yep. When I was asked to remove them, I simply was like very concerned about that because we just can't remove books. And so at that point, working closely with my administration, we decided that we needed to have a policy in place so that parents can have a say in what his or her own child experiences in the library, and then what to do if they think that nobody should be reading those books.
Why do you think there's this kind of heightened scrutiny of what's going on with school libraries and such all of a sudden?
I wish I had a good answer for that. I don't know if it's a combination of fear, what seems to be an easy target historically, but honestly, I honestly do not have a good answer for that.
When somebody like Representative Heather Scott says this considers, this back and forth between libraries and schools and parents and the community.
I think that it's maybe not been as obvious, it's not been as sudden, and it's a war of perversion against our children. It's an orchestrated attack on their minds and their souls.
What do you think about something like that?
I have honestly found it terrifying. I have spent, and I know other librarians and teachers who have found themselves in this similar situation have honestly felt sick to my stomach. The idea that someone without a conversation or without any evidence or proof of what's going on in our local library or any other local library is hurtful and it's harmful. I work with children, I coach children, I have 4 children of my own, and to be personally insinuated that those things are happening or that people that I highly regard in my profession and institution is alarming.
Why did you want to reach out and say, hey, here's what's happening in Riggins?
I felt that when this started a year ago, that I, being the only librarian in the district, felt very alone in the work that I was doing. And so being able to reach out to other librarians and now hearing lots of other stories of where this is happening, I wanted to serve as like a precautionary or an opportunity to educate others on the rights that parents and students have and the professional responsibility that librarians have. It is not up to us to decide what somebody should or should not read.
It's a combination of the community, she said. And after all that, Ashley says Salmon River School set up a policy everyone seems to be good with. And because of that, Good Night Stories for Rebel Girls remains on the shelf in the elementary school. The graphic novel, drama, that was moved to the middle school library. A decision, Ashley says, that reflects the local demographics, the concerns of the parents, and the needs of the students. Ashley hopes going forward the school can return to uniting Riggins instead of dividing it with disinformation. We did reach out to Representative Heather Scott to ask her about her presentation last month and whether she has actually spoken with any local school districts about their policies and such. She has yet to respond. Ashley did make it clear she wants other smaller school districts out there to know they are not alone, like she felt a year ago. And she'd be happy to share her experiences in getting through one of the most difficult years she's had as a librarian.